evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. We are being a little incestuous today. I am interviewing a guy that actually has his own show on AM 950, and when he's not being a great host and co-host of the Minnesota Progressive Repartee, he's also an engineer down here at AM 950, and I think he's the youngest man who works here.
I think so.
Mr. Hunter Haas. Hunter, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah, this has been on my bucket list for a long time to be on the Wall Power Radio Hour.
Well, I'm glad you could be here. I'm glad this finally worked out. And, of course, the timing's great because we have the Great Blue State Ball coming up again, celebrating AM 950 and the work we do and raising a couple of bucks for the station, which is Saturday, March 2nd. At the Blaisdell House, 24th and Blaisdell, my old neighborhood in South Minneapolis. And you can get tickets via am950radio.com. Hunter, how long have you worked at AM 950?
About 2 years now.
Okay. And where did you come from before you got here?
Actually, when I started working here, I was unemployed. And I was driving home, and I heard an ad that they were hiring a producer with X, Y, and Z qualifications. And I'm like, oh, you're looking for me. And then I applied one. I got home, had the interview the next day, and then started working the day after.
Wow. Well, it's I can relate to being unemployed as a musician for the last 40 years. I'm self-unemployed.
Yeah. But yeah, and the station, I had been a fan since the station started. I was just like a teenager. And I remember Air America starting, and I lived in Lakeville at the time, and I had to build a radio so I could actually get it in my basement of my dad's house. But I'd been listening since those early days, so I'd always been a big fan. So it was a dream come true to start working here.
And you were politically lined up because you were a bit of a renegade rebel in high school and a bit of a lefty from a young age.
Yeah. So I went to high school at Lakeville High School, and it was a extremely conservative town and high school, and they had this huge Young Republicans club there, and there was no Young Democrats club, so I decided, I'm like, well, I'll start one.
There you go.
I was the only member at first, and I remember they had a school debate because now they finally had a Young Democrats club, and it was like a table of these Young Republicans that looked like what you'd picture a Young Republican to look like, and then me up there in the auditorium stage.
A lot of pocket protectors and things.
Yes, yeah, exactly, bow ties.
Bow ties and pocket protectors.
But yeah, I held my own, and then that kind of just gave me that this kind of angst and energy that I was always up against these people. Although they were my friends, too, to be fair, because if you wanted to talk politics when you're young, they were the only people you could talk with.
Right.
I mean, I got used to that and being able to be friends with people you disagree with and have actual civil conversations.
What year did you graduate?
2007.
Okay, you're just a punk, man. You're just a punk. But Hunter Haas, my guest for the whole show on the Wall of Power Radio Hour, is also a musician. So tell me about, first of all, let's talk about your family and Growth Music and some of the other music connections you have.
Yeah, so my great-grandfather started Growth Music here in Twin Cities in 1939, and he was actually a world-famous cornet player. He was in the John Philip Sousa band.
Really?
So, yeah, the John Philip Sousa band back in that World War I era was like the Rolling Stones of its day.
Right, absolutely. And they played the John Philip Sousa actually wrote a piece, and I believe they played at the opening of why am I forgetting the name of the Fauché Tower?
Oh, yeah, and that's where Growth Music started, was in the Fauché Tower.
Wow, there you go. Take what you've gathered from coincidence, as Bob Dylan says.
So he started the instrument shop, and it's still in my family today. Now it's my aunt who's running it, but when I was growing up, my grandma was the owner, my dad was the controller, and my mom also worked there. So that was my daycare, was this instrument shop every day. So it was great because my family was there, but I was exposed to a lot of music growing up, and just, I spent my days either tinkering with instruments or playing a Nintendo in my dad's office.
Well, I have bought 2 guitars from Chester Growth over the years. One was a Gibson Chet Atkins Solid Body Classical, and then I bought a Takamine guitar from them in 1988 that I still play. I played
cool.
over...
That was the year I was born.
Oh, there you go. Well, my guitar's in a lot worse shape than you are. I played it over 5,000 professional gigs, but both times I was able to buy on time.
Yeah.
So over the course of months, I was able to put money down and then buy the guitar on a monthly stipend. But so I love Chester Growth, and years ago, I'm a big garage sale guy, vintage store guy, Salvation Army guy. I just like cruising through looking at whatever's there. And this friend of mine called me, and he had it must have been 1939 National guitar.
Oh, yeah.
That he bought at a garage sale. Now, National Resophonic guitar, for those of you that don't know, it's the kind that people associate with the old blues players, guys like Bukka White, also Taj Mahal. And so this guy bought it for $10. He called me and said, what do you think this is worth? I said, well, I'll give you $500 right now for it. And but I said, really, if you want to get your money, go to Willie's Guitar in St. Paul. He ended up selling for $2,500 hours later. But it had the sales slip from Growth Music.
Oh, cool.
Chester Growth Music.
Yeah, the original.
The original, yeah. With the original finger picks in it and a music book.
That's awesome. Yeah, music book. Sheet music is the thing that they have, that most music stores have abandoned, but they have the huge sheet music collection that they sell a lot, like nationally and internationally nowadays.
Well, they do a lot of work with school bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they sell a lot of, trumpets, saxophones, flutes, things like that. But they also have, I haven't been out there in a while. My buddy Jack Pasternak, he goes out there quite a bit because he's a play and release guitar guy. He's always buying and selling guitars, bit of a horse trader. But they have a great guitar selection as well.
Yeah.
And I think my buddy Felix, does he still run the thing?
Felix worked there since I was 1 year old,
yeah.
And he still works there. I saw him just a few weeks ago.
He's the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Well, we have Hunter Haas on the Wall of Power Radio Hour for the whole show today. Hunter always has been involved now for the last 2 years with AM 950, but as of the last few months, he's the co-host of the Minnesota Progressive Repartee, which goes from 4 to 5 every day of the week. He's the solo host on Thursdays. Who is the other host on that? I believe I know.
So, Doug Padgett hosts it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then me and Brett host Tuesday with Brett here in the studio, and then Thursday I host, and Eric Nelson runs the board. So, we got a little community of voices for the Minnesota Progressive Repartee.
Well, not only are we going to listen to several songs that you had something to do with and create, but my goal, Hunter, for during this show is to get you off the Bernie Sanders wagon.
Get me off of it?
Yes.
What?
Totally. Yeah. Well, we need a Democrat that's going to run as a Democrat. But anyway, we'll get into that a little later.
Wow, we're getting controversial now.
Well, we can discuss this as friends, Hunter. But yeah, Bernie's got to go. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about this first song we're going to hear called
Apollonian.
Apollonian from the band
Vencer.
Okay, tell us about what does the name of the band mean?
So what we always said in interviews was it's a secret. So I'm gonna abide by that still.
Oh, international man of mystery, Hunter Haas here on the Wall of Power Radio Hour. In 30 seconds or less, tell us about the song we're going to hear.
So a lot of our music revolves around like Greek mythology, and it has to do with our singer was a philosophy major at NYU. So we had a lot of concepts in this, and this was our very first single. And what you'll hear is this ooh, ooh, ooh. And that's actually my voice run through a sampler that was like the last addition to the song, but it kind of makes the song. So that's what you'll remember from this. But that was a total just me talking into a sampler directly.
And I just have a feeling by that description that anybody out there that's into marijuana is really going to dig this song.
Yeah, they will.
All right, let's play it.
Source of the Twin Cities gay scene is all digital. Follow Twin Cities Gay Scene on Facebook and Twitter. Sign up for the Scene Shot email blast for weekly updates and chances to win great prizes. No app is needed to view the bi-weekly web editions of Scene. It's GLBTQ media for the mobile generation. Find it all at TwinCitiesGayScene.com. That's TwinCitiesGayScene.com.
Native Roots Radio is proud to announce we've added an extra hour.
Yeah, Chushke, 1 hour goes by too fast.
That's right, Uncle Curtis.
I'll have extra time to share important information about our secret animals.
And report national and native news from all over the country and Canada.
This new hour is sponsored by Robbins Kaplan LLP, dedicated to redefining excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country.
We are awake.
Let's think about customization presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. So why can't more things in life be customizable? Why can't I buy Neapolitan ice cream without strawberry? Can't I just have the chocolate and vanilla flavors I'm comfortable with? Do people even want a fruity ice cream flavor sandwiched right between the classics?
Go to LibertyMutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer.
Tune in for Philosophy Talk, the program that questions everything.
Except your intelligence.
Coming up, the Philanthropy Trap.
Trap? Where would we be without philanthropy?
One step closer to realizing how empty and venal our political systems are?
Think of all the good things philanthropists do.
Philanthropy is just a public relations arm of destructive capitalism.
What a grouch.
The Philanthropy Trap. Next time on Philosophy Talk.
Philosophy Talk, every Sunday at 8 a.m. and again at 2 p.m. on AM 950.
Hello, humans. This is me, Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. News flash about my show. It's now an hour long, running from 7 to 8 a.m. every Monday. The longer time slot will allow for interviews of idealists doing important work in the world. LD 2.0 Radio. Listen every Monday from 7 to 8 a.m. My show, it's engaging and real, and it's on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. My guest in the studio, a man who you are familiar with in AM 950 Radioland, Hunter Haas, a musician, engineer, and host, and co-host of Minnesota Progressive Repartee every day on AM 950 from 4 to 5 p.m. Now, tell us a little bit about how you got interested in creating music.
A lot of music growing up in the music store, but I also, my parents would drag me to concerts, like these grand old days and all the free shows when I was in a stroller. So I didn't like it much when I was a kid, but I was exposed to it and it must have set in.
Of course, you didn't get out of the stroller until you were 8, but anyway.
Yeah, how do you know that?
Were your parents hippies?
They were punk rockers.
Oh, no, better yet.
Yeah. My parents met at a Black Flag show, actually. And
really?
My dad was East Side St. Paul. My mom was from Minneapolis, but they were definitely, they were like friends with Lori Barbero and like all the Minneapolis punk going on. And
you know, I did a gig with Greg Geen from Black Flag out in New York years ago, before you were born. But anyway, keep going.
So what got me into like writing my own music was when I was like 12, 13. I had all my parents' vinyl records in the basement and a record player. So I started listening to these, and so I grew up like listening to The Replacements or Social Distortion and the Suburbs, like a lot of the Minneapolis bands, and then a lot of the like 80s hardcore bands. And I got really into that stuff, and I had guitars, but I actually started playing bass more serious, and that was what I started actually composing on. And I just grabbed some friends from school and go, hey, we're starting a band. And no one really played instruments at the time. And to get them motivated, there was two things. We played a junior high graduation, and then because we played one song there, I'm like, all right, let's get a gig now. So my dad's always been friends with the Sullivans at the 400 bar.
Sure.
So we got a gig that summer.
Bill and
Bill and Tom Sullivan, yeah. And
have you read Bill Sullivan's book, Yellow Jail?
Yeah, and Bill's still a really good friend of mine and my dad's.
And for those of you out in Wall of Power Radio Land don't know, Bill Sullivan was the long-time roadie for The Replacements since the very beginning, was with them for years. A complete and true character, sweet guy. In fact, he... for years, I lived on 18th and Linsell in this beautiful old mansion, and Bill lived behind in the carriage house, so we got to be buddies. And I did a few gigs at the 400 while Tom and Bill owned it. They used to have a Bob Dylan sound-alike contest that I used to judge. and Tom passed away a few years ago. May he rest in peace. But, okay, keep going. I jumped right in there just to drop names.
Well, we got this show when we were about 14 years old, and we had to write a whole set for it to open for another band that actually this band, the singer ended up being on The Voice, and she's a big deal now. Her name's slipping me, but we opened for them and just wrote a set, and then from that time on I was pretty much in bands the rest of my adult life.
And just playing bass, or did you learn any other instruments?
Oh, I used to say I played anything that makes noise, but nowadays I can't play as well. I used to be really good at just picking up anything and playing, like having a good ear, but now my dexterity isn't all there.
Well,
but,
you can get it back,
I'd
Hunter.
say bass and guitar were always my...
Get off that cell phone and stop texting and get a real instrument.
Bass and... guitar were my principal instruments, and it's what I ended up going to school for later. But I also played trumpet in the school band, and I actually had to stop because I had these terrible migraines when I was growing up.
Really?
And they figured out that it was related to blowing into the trumpet.
Really?
So they told me, don't play for a month, and I didn't get any that month. And they go, well... until you have another one, don't play. We'll see if it's that. And I never got them again. But I was like the first chair in school band. So trumpet was kind of my direction for a while. And my first music mentor and teacher was Mark Ledford, who passed away, and he was a trumpet player. He has. My dad today still has all of his Grammys and platinum records at our house. He worked for Mary J. Blige and toured with Pat Metheny.
Wow!
But yeah, he was my mentor growing up. But it was for trumpet, so it was a big deal.
Was he a high school teacher?
He was just real deal musician, like just here and there all the time. But
so you took private lessons with him?
He lived in our basement for a while.
Typical musician.
Yeah, I know. He'd live in our basement, and then he would do something like play with the Rolling Stones, and he'd be off to California.
Wow.
But it's really sad, too, because he died when I was young. The same night Rick James died. And there was a kind of a musician massacre that happened that night of overdoses, and that was really unfortunate. And
how old was Mark when he died?
40, right around 40.
Young.
Mm-hmm.
Did he record with Pat? Pat Metheny is one of my favorite guitar players and composers.
Oh, absolutely. He's on all those Pat Metheny albums.
Not the early ones, of course, because that was just Pat's quartet.
Yeah.
I saw Pat for the first time live at the Longhorn in I bet it was 78 or 79, and I just moved to Minneapolis. And, of course, the Longhorn, there was just a movie that just debuted at the Parkway last week.
I haven't seen that.
I guess it's great.
Yeah, I really want to.
I want to have Mark Engerbretson, who the producer and director of that. I want to have him on the show. But, so we walked in to see the original Pat Metheny quartet, Lyle Mays on piano, and Danny Gottlieb on drums, and Mark, I forget Mark's last name, on bass. But, boy, it was phenomenal. In fact, we got there just in time when Metheny was coming back to the gig and opened the door for my girlfriend and I. It was very cool. We have Hunter Haas on. He's a stalwart down here at AM 950 as a host of the Minnesota Progressive Repartee, as well as being an engineer and a great guy on top of it. Tell us a little bit about this song. Give me 10 seconds. We're going to listen to See I'm You.
Yeah, this is CMU by my band Vencer, and this was the single from our debut album. There's how we got CMU is we reversed the opening line. That's why you swimming, why you swimming, why you swimming, and it sounds like CMU, CMU, CMU. But
all right,
so enjoy.
Why you swimming, why you swimming, why you swimming, why you swimming if I'm floating?
You free, well you know that I'm alright, yeah, know that I'm just fine. Keep me in your lovely eyes, I think you'll see I'm right. Touch me never leaves you down, and find out who you are. Well I don't think you said it wrong, we'll get you very far. Well you know that I'm alright, yeah, know that I'm just fine. Keep me in your jewelry wall, see I'm something nice. See I'm something nice.
Hello. If your taxes from years past are talking to you from the back of that drawer in your desk, it might be about time you answered the call by making a call to Moe's Tax Service in St. Paul.
Time to come out now.
They've been preparing tax returns and creating advisory-based relationships with their clients since 1971.
Kind of stuffy in here.
Problems with the IRS don't go away by ignoring them. Call Moe's Tax Service. That's M-O-H-S. They're on Ford Parkway in St. Paul. 612-721-2026. 721-2026.
This is New Beginnings, hosted by award-winning broadcaster and speaker Freddie Bell.
Freddie, this generation of the baby boomers, people are living longer, so the baby boomers are taking care of elderly parents.
Let's talk about your health, and specifically, let's talk about Medicare. Our show features the concerns of America's 78 million baby boomers in employment, finance, health and nutrition, and even entertainment.
Catch New Beginnings with Freddie Bell, Saturdays at 11 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Hi, this is Laura, and I want to tell you about my family's favorite thing. It's our wood stove. We bought it about 14 years ago from Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. And see, the wood stove has actually paid for itself because we can keep the main area that we live in toasty warm with this great moist heat. But more important than saving money, it has actually improved our lives. Having a fire simplifies life. It provides comfort. It sort of takes the chill out of winter.
I'm Peter Solak. In 1977, I started Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, and I experienced the simple joy of warming myself by a fire. I also realized that the place and the way we embrace fire has evolved in a diversity of forms and styles. So at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have brought together the widest selection of our fireplace products and technical knowledge in the Twin Cities. Our mission is to use our knowledge to help you choose the design and function that is right for you and your home.
Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today and find the right fire for you.
The local advertisers you hear on AM 950 are the lifeblood of the station. If you find yourself regularly tuning in, or if you appreciate the diversity of content we deliver, please take the time to support our advertisers. Even if it's just to thank them for backing AM 950, your voice and support can go a long way. Help keep the station going strong while investing in our local community. Find the complete list of on-air supporters by visiting the advertisers page at am950radio.com. That's am950radio.com.
Enjoy a delicious home-cooked breakfast or lunch away from the kitchen at Milda's Cafe, now open 7 days a week. Milda's Cafe has been cooking up family favorites since 1964. Grab a coffee and sit down for a delicious Philly scramble, house-made rolls, or Denver omelet. Stop in for lunch where you'll find authentic Finnish pasties every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Open weekdays 6 to 3, weekends 8 to 2. Milda's Cafe on Glenwood Avenue, 4 blocks east of Penn.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Eric Nelson. Tonight, expect scattered flurries with wind chill values as low as negative 28. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 0 and the low around negative 9. Monday will be partly sunny with a high of 7. Tonight is the night. The Blue State Ball at the Blaisdell in Minneapolis. Come see all of your AM 950 favorites like Tom Hartman, John Fugelsang, and Matt McNeil. You'll even get to meet me. Dress code is blue jeans to ball gowns. Tickets can now only be bought at the door. General admission starts at 6:30 p.m. I hope to see you there.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. We just heard some music by Vensare. The song was Porteño by the great Hunter Haas.
And you want to know something? I just found out, preparing for this, that song was in a movie, and I didn't know until...
That version that we just heard?
Yeah.
What movie?
Brett, do you remember the name? It was...
I'll look it up here, but it had Shooter McGavin as the lead actor.
Shooter McGavin was in it, and it's something like The Money Baby or something.
I hope you got a few bucks for that.
It went to someone, but it didn't get to me. Don't Worry, Baby.
Yeah, a few years ago, yeah.
And actually, I knew that we were in the trailer for a different song, but I thought that was the only extent. But I guess we're in the movie and in the soundtrack, and I didn't know till Googling these songs to pull them up again.
Wow. So, Hunter... so these were all separate 45 RPM singles?
No, they were, we did 2 recordings with this band, an EP and then a full-length album, and they're from either one of those. the full-length album, actually, it was called Paradix, and the entire album...
Can you say that on the air?
Yeah, Paradix, it's like a partridge.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Just checking. Brett, we got to keep the young Haas here on the straight and narrow.
That's right. Yeah, we can't beat him out here on his own interview.
I have been listening to a lot of Howard Stern lately, though. But the entire album actually flows into each other. Like, every song goes in. And that was my big pushing for the album, because also at this time I was DJing out in New York a lot. And
I want to talk about that. Hold on to that thought for a second.
Yeah.
I'm still curious as an independent musician. So did you press these on your own label?
Yeah, we released them ourselves and released them in vinyl, and actually a gold vinyl. Like the vinyl record is this awesome gold color.
Did you distribute them far and wide, or just in the Twin Cities, or?
Well, the band was New York based, so it was when I was living in New York, and the way we did it was we worked with like publications to exclusively premiere when they were released. So the first EP was released through Interview Magazine. And then
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a smart way to do it, because they're eager for exclusive content, and then you get a lot of publicity from it.
That's brilliant, actually.
Yeah, and then the album was released through Spin Magazine.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, both those were like dream come trues to be involved with that.
So they give you a certain amount of money,
mm-hmm.
and to license the songs, and then they press as many needs to be pressed to go out with the magazines,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. And online, and most of it is online sales.
Right.
But then we would have the physical copies for sale and for shows.
Cool. So, how did you end up in New York City on the Lower East Side?
So I went to school actually at Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I went to school for 6 semesters there. But towards the end of my stay at Berklee, what I started doing was my best friend, who actually was in that first band with me here in Minnesota, lived out in New York, and he went to school at NYU. And I started living between Boston and New York, where I'd go to class 3 days a week in Boston, and I'd be in New York 4 days a week at his apartment, and we'd be doing music on the weekends. So I rode that Feng Hua Chinatown to Chinatown bus way more than any person ever should.
Right.
So I was going to school there, but building my life in New York. And how that kind of tipped was, it was the summer of 2010, and I also started DJing a lot with some other friends, and we decided to kind of band together and create this crew. And at first, we were given one night at this club we wanted to DJ at. It was Home Sweet Home. It was a Monday night, because that's the worst night for a nightclub.
What part of the Lower East Side was that?
This was like Lower East Side, Chinatown, right on the border, Christie and Delancey.
Okay.
And it was the best Monday they had in a long time, so they go, do you want every Monday? So we started doing that, and it just kind of took off because we didn't have any competition either on Monday nights. So that first fall, we won Best Dance Floor of New York City from the Village Voice.
Wow, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll get the name out there.
And so with all that going on, and the band was just starting at this time too, I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to go back to school this semester, because this is kind of what I'm trying to do anyways.
Right.
So I just stayed. And Berklee, to its credit, it has the highest dropout rate, but you can also return at any time in your life. So if I want to complete those 2 semesters, I could go back at any time.
Well, in Boston, I played the Berklee Performing Arts Center.
Oh, yeah.
For Mary Black, and so I had a chance to hang out there. But Berklee is probably probably the number one music school if you really want to get into jazz.
Yeah, it's the number one contemporary music school by far, definitely. The difference between like a Berklee and Juilliard is Berklee is the only school that teaches jazz theory rather than classical music theory,
right.
which is more practical for musicians, I'd say.
Well, a lot of the instructors at Berklee were performing jazz musicians, and not just jazz. I mean, they had...
Yeah.
Excuse me, they had... there's a guy named... I'm trying to think. He's a fiddle player. His first name is Matt. It'll come to me. He's my Facebook buddy. But he's been on a lot of the Ken Burns soundtracks, and he's a phenomenal fiddle player.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows jazz, but bluegrass, folk music.
Yeah, one of my teachers was James Taylor's brother, Livingston Taylor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so yeah, it's the real deal. Like, it's definitely the best place to teach for musicians, too. And it's just it's an amazing environment there.
I was just played a great tribute show to Willie Murphy yesterday in the West Bank at the Caboose. Willie is the heart and soul of the Minneapolis music scene for over 50 years and passed on January 13th. Bumped into a really great gal who's a good bass player, and we started talking about she was taking lessons from Jimmy Anton.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy is probably one of the greatest bass players in the country. He plays with Chastity Brown and Johnny Lang. But I said, one of the things I'm most proud of my time in town was I was headlining my very first show at the Caboose Bar back in about 86. And the bass player at the time had found out that afternoon at noon that he wasn't going to make the gig. He had some chemical problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hired my friend McMassoff to play. And then that night there was a young, fresh-faced young guy in from Berklee named Jimmy Anton, 18 years old, handsome guy. Says, I'm a bass player. I just graduated from Berklee. Gave me his card. I said, meet me tomorrow at my apartment in South Minneapolis at noon. And he did. He played with me that night, and he played with me, I don't know, for 6 or 7 years. We still play every now and then.
I know who Jim Anton is. He was friends with my dad for a long time.
Yeah, Jimmy is the best. So what sorts of, so you have a happening Monday night at this club on the Lower East Side. You must have had a lot of really cool New York musicians, artists, celebrities come through.
Yeah, what happened was this became like the hip hangout of downtown Manhattan for like the present day. So there was a lot of like visual artists, musicians also, and clothing designers, and it just became like a trendy spot to meet people. So over the years, we had like Beyonce came once, Mary-Kate Olsen, Chloe Sevigny, the actor, would come through pretty frequently because she's kind of a downtown hip chick.
I've always wanted to know how to pronounce her last name. Thank you.
But what our party was too, it was a social activist nightclub night, because what we would do is we were a diverse group of kids, and we would primarily give like when we'd book talent, we'd provide a show for like up and coming gay, lesbian, trans, and people of color, like musicians or DJs, and so it became kind of a safe space downtown, which is kind of club environments can be pretty like white guy bro scene. Right. So this was a complete contrast to what most were, and that really took off and got popular, and it was an like incredibly interesting environment to be in all the time.
Great way to spend a Monday night, sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm.
We have Hunter Haas, great cat in the studio. We're going to be a little self-indulgent here. Play the theme song of the Wall of Power Radio Hour, my song, Wall of Power, that you only get to hear a little clip of. We're going to play a little more of it now and then, back for one more segment with the great Hunter Haas.
Someday the high
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
The number one source of the Twin Cities gay scene is all digital. Follow Twin Cities Gay Scene on Facebook and Twitter. Sign up for the Scene Shot email blast for weekly updates and chances to win great prizes. No app is needed to view the bi-weekly web editions of Scene. It's GLBTQ media for the mobile generation. Find it all at TwinCitiesGayScene.com. That's TwinCitiesGayScene.com.
Finding the best foods the Twin Cities has to offer is easy with EatLocalMinnesota.com. Offering the top local and independently owned restaurants, EatLocalMinnesota.com has everything from burger joints to cocktails and fine dining. It's Greek to Me has been a family-owned Lynn Lake landmark since 1982. Under new ownership, the Giannakis Karas family offers classically inspired modern Greek cuisine in a sublime space with gracious hospitality. Be sure to visit their charming bar and explore wines and specialty drinks from Greece. Find It's Greek to Me at 626 West Lake Street in Minneapolis or at itsgreektomemn.com. Crooner's Lounge and Supper Club invites you to check out their beautiful facilities for your next special occasion. Book your wedding reception, retirement party, business dinner, or other special event with confidence, knowing their expert staff and award-winning chef will make it a big hit with your guests. Call today to get a quote, 763-571-9020.
Hi, Matt McNeil for Rudy Luther Toyota. You know I purchase my vehicles with Rudy Luther because I love my Toyota Sienna, but it's the extra things which make me a loyal Rudy Luther customer. A great example, the Luther Advantage Card. With every new and used vehicle purchased, you'll get 3 years of 10 cents off per gallon of gas at Holiday Station stores and $5 off the Works car washes. The Luther Advantage Cards keep you happy in your Rudy Luther vehicle. Find out more at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. My guest for the whole show tonight, the great and young and handsome Mr. Hunter Haas.
Thank you.
Hunter is been with AM 950 for 2 years as an engineer, and just as of the last couple of months ago, part of a great new show here on AM 950 called the Minnesota Progressive Repartee, 4 to 5 every weekday. Thursday, he hosts it solo. So, Hunter, where did you get into your, how high school Democrat, right?
Yeah.
So what do you follow now besides Bernie Sanders? I mean, what sorts of blogs do you read, magazines, etc.?
Well, when I'm preparing for the show, my first source is always MinnPost. I love MinnPost, and I like to gear the show local whenever I can. Otherwise, people I listen to, I had this podcast, Chapo Trap House, in studio. They're a huge left-wing, new media podcast. It's very, very popular. I really enjoy them. And then I like Sam Cedar. He's got a Ring of Fire on the weekends here on AM 950.
And I think Sam, talking to Brett the engineer today, wasn't Sam on the original Air America too?
Yeah, he was. And it was the Majority Report, which he kind of rebooted recently, and it now airs on YouTube. But he's an original Air America guy.
So now, what is your big fascination with Bernie Sanders?
Well, Bernie has just been there. I'm into principled progressives who like
Elizabeth Warren.
I like Elizabeth Warren a lot. Why I prefer Bernie Sanders is I feel Elizabeth Warren has political shortcomings, and I feel like she could lose. But policy-wise, Elizabeth Warren is there, and
but Bernie lost in the Democratic primary. He's already a proven loser.
Touche. This year is going to be
now
a field
he's really
16.
old.
It's going to be a field of 10 to 20 Democrats, and Bernie has a national infrastructure. He's going to have a tremendous advantage, and people want someone who has been consistent for 30 years. People that aren't even far left respect Bernie Sanders for being honest, that you know where he's coming from. He's not a typical politician that'll take trendy stances.
Yeah, but the thing is, for Bernie, for me, and I've followed him, and I have a lot of respect for Bernie. He's just, it's like the one-note samba, tax the rich, I didn't hear enough at all about the environment from him. I don't think he didn't vote to sue the gun manufacturers on the East Coast. He's taken a lot of shots at a lot of other great Democrats like Hillary Clinton and others, and he's too old. I mean, you know what? How about this? How about Bernie as a VP? And you put somebody like Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren as a president.
No, I think you do. Bernie as president and someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who's young and progressive as a VP.
No, not Tulsi. No. Tulsi. No. You are smoking too much weed, dude. You are listening to... You're too far to the left here. No, not Tulsi. No.
That's my job.
Yeah, well, where do I apply? Now, and Bernie, it's just, he's going to split the ticket, and he's not a Democrat.
What do you mean he's going to split the ticket?
He's an independent. He is going to, take away votes from whoever should be the Democratic frontrunner in 2020.
Well, so that I'm a Democrat. I call myself Spirit of the New Deal Democrat.
Bernie doesn't call himself a Democrat.
No, I know that. And however, I think that plays well with just the general American populace.
Except Democrats.
But you don't think they're going to vote for Bernie Sanders?
No.
Well,
they didn't last time. They didn't last time.
A tremendous amount did.
Well, just enough to throw the 2020 to Donald Trump. But anyway, Hunter Haas, let's end this interview with you. It's great having you on.
Yes, absolutely.
We still got time to figure it out. You're young.
You can come on the Progressive Repartee and we can talk politics.
I would love to.
Anytime. We can definitely do that.
Well, I just love working with you. I love working with Brett. I love working with Eric. And, of course, our fearless leader, Chad Larson. Mm-hmm. It's good that we have this radio station in this market.
It's incredibly important.
We've just been disagreeing on Bernie and a few other things on Tulsi, but it's a very important radio station, and it's a pleasure working with you all. And we've just got a little over a minute left, so we have the Blue State Ball coming up.
Yes.
Saturday, March 2nd, at the Blaisdell House on 24th and Blaisdell, my old neighborhood, South Minneapolis. You're going to be DJing.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do a tune or two. And, Brett, who are some of our guests?
2 headliners so far. We got Tom Hartman and now John Fugelsang, and the politicians never let us know till like the day before. So.
John Fugelsang. Now, what? I follow him on Twitter, but I don't really even know what he does.
So he's an actor, a stand-up comedian, and he's on the Stephanie Miller Show a ton. So that's how a lot of our listeners know who he is. But yeah, really funny guy.
Yeah, I just chimed in with one of his tweets today. Well, it's going to be a great time.
And I just want to say, email your request to comment@am950radio.com, and I will play them at the Blue State Ball.
There you go. Hunter Haas, it's a pleasure getting to know you.
Absolutely.
And
this is really fun.
It's been fun hearing your music. And I'll see you Saturday, March 2nd at the Blaisdell House for the Blue State Ball.
Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. The show was produced by Paul Metza, engineered today by Brett Johnson in the basement studio of AM 950 Radio in the heart of Eden Prairie, which is neither Eden nor a prairie. Follow me at paulmetza.com. I've also got a TV show called Wall of Power TV, Saturday nights at 8 and 11:30 p.m. If you have Comcast, we're on Channel 6. Otherwise, stream from mcn6.org. Play every Wednesday night in St. Paul at the Green Lantern, 229 East 6th Street, 9 o'clock. Thursday night at Shaw's Bar, the corner of 16th and University, from 5 to 7:30. We appreciate your support. If you would like to advertise on my show, get a hold of me via am950radio.com. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.
Someday